coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee break with me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee Break with Candace. I'm David Marino, your co-host. And this week, we're talking to an organization that has really played a large role in keeping people employed and finding employment for them. And that's been especially important during this pandemic. Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area is a nonprofit community partnership providing no-cost recruitment and employment services to businesses and job seekers in the rural capital area of Texas. And my guest today is Diane Tackett, the Chief Operating Officer for Workforce Solutions. Diane, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Well, first of all, talk about the mission behind Workforce Solutions for those who don't know about the organization and why it was really created.
The whole workforce development system was created back in the mid to late 90s through some federal funding called the Job Training Partnership Act. And the whole concept behind the workforce development system is that we would help bring training providers, employers, and job seekers together to be able to create a talent pipeline that employers need to meet the skill sets that they have and be able to help people advance into a career path. So even though it started kind of in the late 90s, there's been a lot of progression and maturity of the workforce development system throughout the years. And so today we're really here to be a convener and a facilitator to bring together those individuals that are looking for employment, individuals that are looking to progress on a career pathway, and meet the needs of what employers have when they're looking to hire in a community.
And you actually cover, is it a 9-county area? Can you talk about the area of coverage?
Sure. So Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area covers the 9 counties, the 9 rural counties around Travis County. So we cover Llano, Burnett, Blanco, Hayes, Caldwell, Fayette, Lee, Bastrop, and Williamson County.
As you know, the pandemic has been extremely difficult for people, not only in Texas, but across the country. And many people did lose their jobs during that time. As an organization, though, for you, how did you find yourself having to pivot to help as many of those people as you could?
Man, that was really interesting. So that, everybody, I think, kind of got surprised and caught off guard by that. And so we were in a position where not only were we trying to meet the needs of the customer base that we currently had enrolled in programming and were working to help find employment, we were also concerned about ensuring that our staff were taken care of and were safe and healthy and had the support that they needed during a very difficult time for a lot of different families. And then, of course, with our employers, I mean, the pandemic really kind of impacted the unemployment rate. We went from kind of a historical low unemployment rate prior to the pandemic to reaching an all-time high of just around 11% unemployed. So there were a lot of things that we were able to put in place pretty quickly to support the needs of employers and to be able to ensure that our job seekers were also getting their needs met as they were continuing through training. We did things like developing a method to be able to provide services virtually. So we identified expanded hours, additional contact ways that people could get in touch with our staff in the office. We also created something called Workforce Wednesdays, which was kind of the first in the state series of virtual hiring events where employers could meet job seekers over the internet and did not have to have an in-person interaction to be able to determine if there would be a good match with the skill set with the needs that employers had. We also were able to really kind of push out some upskilling and additional training for job seekers at no cost to job seekers so they could participate in using that time to be able to upskill and identify new skills and learn new things that would make them more employable to the businesses in the area. I mean, there were just so many different things that we did because the breadth of services that we offer covers not only employers and training providers, but we also work with the early care and education system. So one of the things that happened during the pandemic is obviously many of our child care providers felt the impact of that when parents stopped bringing children to care. And so, there was a revenue impact that those providers experienced. And in addition to that, there were some more stringent health and safety standards that had to go into play. So, we really kind of rallied behind the community to get some health and safety supplies to our childcare providers so that they could keep their doors open. I think over the course of the last 9 months, we were able to support over 80 childcare providers with purchasing health and safety supplies, purchasing disinfecting supplies and things like that that would help keep their centers open. We also had the opportunity to support individuals who were still required to work during the pandemic. And so one of the ways we did that is through expanded eligibility for child care services. Families that might not have been eligible or might not have known that this opportunity was available to them, we reached out to them so that we could support their ability to continue to work through ensuring that their children had a safe, stable educational environment to attend. There were just so many different things that we did, but I think one of the main things that we did to support employers was really focus and invest in that no-cost upskilling that was available during that time and build that connection to really what those employers needed through offering the opportunity for the employer to meet that job seeker without having to have that face-to-face interaction.
What have you seen? I mean, it doesn't even have to be during the pandemic, but just over this time, what are some rewarding stories that you've heard of or that you've seen with some of the people, whether it's business related or just some of the people that found jobs through your organization?
Oh my gosh, that is such a great question that you asked. I actually was just looking at a testimonial from one of our younger job seekers earlier today, and she was a young lady who had graduated from high school and had been working in the fast food industry and really wanted to be able to try something different. And, kind of dealing with, I think, a lot of the self-doubt and a lot of the worry and anxiety that people have if they haven't ever tried anything new. But she was able to come into the center and meet with one of our staff who provided her the support and the opportunity to engage in some training through dental assisting school. And, the testimonial was amazing because she was talking about really what it was like to work through that anxiety and that self-doubt and be able to push herself through to seeing that training through to completion. And she has since been employed and has maintained that employment for about, I think it was the last year and a half. And the interesting thing about that is, to hear her speak about it at the very beginning and think that she thought that her future was going to continue to be in an entry-level position where there wasn't going to be a lot of career advancement, and to have the opportunity for us to be able to help her see what she was interested in and get her on a path. And I think one of the really interesting things about that is that there really is no wrong door for any job seeker or any young adult that's looking to get into the world of work. And we have a lot of tools that can support people in making those decisions. And I think if there were one thing I would say to people, it's don't think once you make a decision on a career path that is the only thing that you will do for the rest of your life, because that's the beauty of transitional skills and the beauty of being able to look at diversifying your skill set, because many employers are looking for very similar skill sets. It's just a matter of how we apply those skill sets to the specific circumstance that's important.
And you were talking about somebody very young, but there's also the older population, some of them looking for jobs. And sometimes it can be harder for some of your older people in the world because they're either discriminated against or somebody thinks they're too old to do a certain job. Have you run into some of that as well?
we do work with job seekers who have experienced that as well. You know, and again, it's a very similar thing where for many people, myself included, you know, I've been doing this kind of work for 20 plus years. There are times that I can feel like I'm stuck in a certain trajectory because this is what I know, this is what I'm comfortable with doing. And it's kind of hard to kind of push outside of those bounds, but that's where our career lattices will come into play. And it's really just kind of a dynamic set of tools that we have that will help somebody identify where their current skills are and how many other opportunities would be looking for that current skill set or a very similar skill set. And so even if we're talking about more mature workers, we're going through a very similar process of helping to really objectively identify where their skills are and being able to provide the opportunity so that they can look at different businesses to see how well their skills would match with those different businesses. I think one of the other things that's interesting about more mature workers like that is that there is a unique perspective that mature workers bring to the work environment. And that's something that we can really help somebody kind of crystallize as they're going through the interview process. So it comes out clearly and concisely what the different benefits would be to hiring somebody that has a longer work experience.
What types of different programs do you have? I know there's a wide variety of things that you do, but can you touch on some of the main ones?
Sure. So, you know, I really think the best way to describe this is really to kind of look at what the job search experience would look like for anybody who finds themselves in a position where they have to look for employment. So we offer resume and interview assistance. We offer a job matching portal. We've got actually a couple of different versions of it. We've got Jobs Now, which is available directly on our website. And what that job matching portal does is it highlights, you know, kind of immediate and critical hiring needs that different businesses in the community have. And it will provide a little video so that you have an idea of what the day in the life looks like. And typically we'll talk a little bit more about the positions that are available and then give that job seeker an opportunity to apply for those positions. We also have another job matching portal that's called workintexas.com. And that goes a little bit more in depth where it really kind of helps the job seeker identify what skills they bring to an opportunity and really works to match those skills with job options that employers will have in the system and kind of does more of a skill set to skill set match. And then when we identify or when a job seeker identifies that they may not have the skills or they would like to have some more skill progression in order to meet the needs of the employers, we also offer opportunities for paid and unpaid training. There are so many different things. We also, kind of going along that continuum, sometimes, you know, classroom training is not the best avenue for somebody to learn a new skill. So we've got different options for training. We can do paid and unpaid apprenticeships. We can do paid and unpaid, you know, kind of summer work experience opportunities for young adults or for individuals with disabilities. And then in addition to that, one of the things that we don't really talk about a whole lot, but really has an impact on not only the current workforce, but the future workforce, is how we support families with children in getting the children connected with early care and education. Because we know that a family is going to be more likely to be able to accept and maintain employment when they know that their child is in a safe and quality educational experience. And then that also supports the children because we know if we provide that safe, high quality educational opportunity, that child will be more likely to do well in school and then have the soft skills and those kind of fundamental skills that are needed to be able to accept employment in the future. So it's kind of a long-term strategy for the future workforce, but it also aligns well with what we're doing to support the current workforce.
And there are certain eligibility requirements for that, right? For the financial aid for eligible families. How does that work?
Sure. So there are some eligibility requirements that go along with that. The easiest way to explain this is that if you are a parent or a household and the adults in the household or the individual parent is working at least 25 hours a week or going to school at least 25 hours a week, we would encourage that individual to reach out to us. We what we would do then is talk individually with that person to see what option would be best suited for them. So in the event that a family might not meet the eligibility criteria for that particular program, one of the other things that we do is act as a convener of resources in the community. So we would also have information available on other community options that might be able to support the placement into early care and education. And there are some great options out there with the expansion that's happening with pre-K programs and with Head Start and early Head Start enrollments and kind of expansion of what children might be eligible to participate in that. So there's, we're really seeing some momentum growing in the community to be able to support families who are looking to go back to work.
You were talking earlier about the unemployment rate, and it looks like things have improved a bit, right, over the last couple of months. Can you talk a little about that?
So prior to the pandemic, we had kind of a relatively low unemployment rate. It was probably around 2.9 to 3%, which meant for many purposes, we were the majority of people that could go to work had been able to find some type of employment. When the pandemic hit, we kind of flew up to an unemployment rate of just around 11%. And then we watched that unemployment rate come down over the summer as businesses started to stabilize and as people started to feel a little bit more comfortable. And then you see some seasonal fluctuations in the unemployment rate anyway. Currently, we are at a 4.5% unemployment rate, which means that even though it was higher than pre-pandemic levels, we are one of the areas that recovered very, very quickly from the impacts of the pandemic. And I think a lot of that has to do just with the economic environment that our business community is working in and the different industries that the various and different industries that are available in each of our 9-county areas. So it's not predominantly one industry that was affected by the pandemic. You saw kind of how that was able to stabilize because there were other industries that were growing as maybe one was having to reduce its staffing, and then people were able to take advantage of those other opportunities. One of the things that we're really looking at is the increase in advanced manufacturing and skilled trades positions. And I'm not sure about you, but when I was in high school, it was, you had kind of that high school to 4-year college track, and people went on that track. And what we're seeing, not only with the labor market information, but kind of listening to employers that are looking to relocate to this area, is that manufacturing, production, skilled trades, so many of these positions are paying family supporting wages and relatively high wages that make that a good option, not only for workers that are moving into this area, but also young adults that are transitioning out of school that think maybe I'm not ready to go to college, or maybe that academic kind of situation was not the best situation. We still have all of those. We still have many, many different options available, and would like to be able to talk through a lot of that because, that's kind of the bread and butter of the community, is having those skilled trades and some of those production positions available.
I know moving into the future, you all will continue to offer online services. I saw your calendar. There's a number of different things that people can take part in. Can you talk about just some of the things you'll be doing moving forward, or anything coming up that might be of interest to the public?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, man, we have, in terms of online services, I talked about the no-cost upskilling courses that are available online, and anybody would be able to register for those courses and kind of look through a catalog of over 20,000 different topics to see what they might be interested in. It is no cost. It's kind of open entry, open exit, so it can happen at the point where anybody has the time to be able to participate in that coursework. We also offer kind of quick workshop series to help people if you just need to get a little bit of advice or insight on a certain topic. Say you're getting ready to go into an interview and you want to know what the 3 most common interview questions are and the best way to answer those. Well, you could just watch a quick little 5-minute video, and that might help provide some insight on how to answer some of those questions. I think kind of midterm range, things that are on the radar also has to do with some very specific opportunities for new employees and people who might have already had a job for a while but are looking to, again, upskill so that they can be in line for a promotion. So we have a program called Paths for Texas. And what that does is it allows us, again, at no cost for the person who would like to take the course, to be able to register for some coursework and be able to work with their employer to identify what courses would be appropriate so that they could receive a promotion or some type of wage or salary increase upon completion of those courses. I'm personally very excited. We received some federal funding recently to implement a program over the next couple of years to really try to improve the supply of healthcare professional shortages in rural areas. So we'll be working to provide training and support for up to 200 individuals that are interested in going into healthcare occupations in the 3 counties kind of in the northwestern portion of our service area, which would be Burnett, Blanco, and Llano County. But if anybody's interested in going into a healthcare profession, we see that there's a specific need out there in those counties, and we really want to work to meet that need for the community as well as employers. This really kind of builds into what one of our long-term goals are, and you see that in the strategic plan that we've developed. And some of our long-term goals are to work with our different community partners and business partners to take on some of the larger structural barriers that are happening in a community that might prevent people from being able to go to work. So it might be things like housing or transportation or even broadband access, and then also expanding the availability of affordable childcare. So, we've got a lot of different things on the horizon, but we've got some really big plans to try to work on them.
In terms of people who may speak different languages, whether it's Spanish or something else, are there services available for people who do speak maybe Spanish or a different language?
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you asked that question because that was also something that I didn't think about hitting on, but all of our services are available in Spanish as well. We have staff on site that would be able to offer that service in Spanish, and if there's something that is requested that we don't have available, we will work with our community partners to ensure that it is available. And it's interesting too when you talk about that, because so many times we talk about, we kind of have the default of providing services in one language and then going into another language to be able to meet the need of the individual in the community. But what's really interesting is we're starting to see employers and other businesses come to us and say, we would like to have the opportunity to learn Spanish or learn other languages so that we can interact with our employees a little bit better. And what can Workforce Solutions do to help us do that? And I think that's really intriguing because I think that shows that there's the investment of the business partner in wanting to meet, their employee halfway and be able to show that they're a valued employee and they're really committed to retaining that employee and ensuring that they've got the best possible experience. So we absolutely can do that. We also have services available in other languages, just kind of depending on what the need is by the consumer. So we're easy and we're able to accommodate.
Is there anything else that you would like to add about Workforce Solutions?
I would just say, give us a call, come see us. We're here for you, and we will do better as an organization when we know what the needs are in the community and we can work to meet the needs in the community. So if you're looking for work, if you're working and looking for something else, if you're in school, getting ready to complete school, or if you're a business and you're having a hard time finding people to come to work for you, give us a call because that's what we're here to do. We really want to help build that connection for the community.
Our hearts are with all of those who have been affected by the pandemic. In just a few months' time, COVID-19 has brought about years of change in the way that we all live, work, and do business, and has left lasting effects on our local industries and workforce. But one thing remains constant. When Central Texans need help, the Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area team is always here to answer the call. We empower Texans of all abilities to find sustainable career outcomes by coaching them to employment to meet the workforce needs of local industries. Amid the pandemic, our 9-county area of Central Texas continues to be one of the fastest growing regions in the country. These employers need skilled and qualified workers. With rapid local development and expansion comes the need to attract, recruit, and retain a highly skilled workforce. We put people to work. We do this by bringing together community leaders, industry experts, and training providers to develop workforce solutions for Texans. We facilitate workforce and childcare services by finding new and innovative ways to keep each of our counties working, growing, and competing at a global level. As our region made significant interventions to curb the spread of the coronavirus, our teams mobilized to protect the health and safety of customers and staff, to ensure that our business services, early childhood development programs, and career services continued virtually. We introduced a unified toll-free number for all services, an online appointment system on our website to book curbside or in-center visits. We launched the Jobs Now portal to supplement job matches on workintexas.com to help employers fill immediate openings and help job seekers review positions in high demand. We were also the first in the state to offer online job fairs weekly with our Workforce Wednesdays virtual hiring events to connect talented Central Texans with great Texas employers. The pandemic has pushed companies over the digital tipping point and transformed the future of work. To help Central Texas business and job seekers stay competitive, our no-cost, live daily career enhancement workshops were moved online to be accessed from any interactive mobile device. Through our partnerships, we are also offering more than 20,000 free online courses in high-demand occupations through Metrics Learning, LinkedIn Learning, and Academy. We are also able to deliver solutions to job seekers and employers by assisting parents with childcare tuition assistance to enroll their children with high-quality providers. Childcare is one of the biggest expenses families face, and our team has been working closely with local providers daily to enhance the quality of care and education. Our vision is to ensure that local employers will have a highly skilled and educated workforce, and our residents will have the competencies, skills, and education to become self-sufficient and live a quality life. We are delivering on that goal by continuing to reduce the structural barriers that can prevent Texans from finding sustainable employment. We are also enhancing the region's employer-led and demand-driven workforce system and identifying pathways to help job seekers tap into occupations in high demand that provide family-supporting wages and opportunities for advancement. We are Rural Capital Area, and we're proud to provide workforce solutions for Central Texans. With your help, we'll continue to get through this challenging time for our community together.